Huskies to the win in the premier event. That's the men's Windermere Cup. That's coming up later on. It's the men's Erickson Cascade Cup right now. You saw the lane assignments here for these second varsity 8 boats. Columbia, the Eastern Power in lane number 1. It's the Huskies in 2, and Oregon State in lane number 3. Steve Todd with us. Steve, former coach of the Beavers, so you know a lot of these athletes in this Oregon State boat pretty well.
Yeah, this Oregon State boat, it's a pretty young crew with a bunch of freshmen in it this year. The stroke seats from Vashon Island right outside of Seattle, Baxter Call, but a great young freshman who really excelled on the junior level. But right now, it's all the Huskies in the early part of this race.
The Huskies split their duel with Cal last week. Big news in that. The varsity 8 boat actually lost to another collegiate boat for the first time in almost 5 years, but the second varsity 8 group, it beat the Bears in its dual meet race last weekend by almost 6 seconds.
Yeah, Cox and Lisa Caldwell, her crew wrote an excellent race plan. They were a little bit down on Cal, chipped away at him, and then just took off in the second half of the race to win by a really pretty sizable margin over their rivals. And Phil Walzak, who from Everett Rowing Club up in Everett, Washington, took last year off of school, and Coach Callahan said he's been a huge asset to have back on the team this year. He was working on his bioengineering degree, so he's an incredible student athlete there at the stroke seat.
This Husky group overall continuing to dominate with what they've been able to accomplish with the national championships at the IRAs, and that has been a dominant performance for them. A little over 2 minutes into this, and Washington try to assert itself right away, and mission accomplished for Lisa Caldwell and the Huskies. When you've pulled away here at the outset, Steve, what becomes important for Washington right now to continue to keep their rhythm and keep this lead?
Well, Lisa's looking right now at, are the Huskies keeping their speed? Are they really staying on the splits? Are they rowing their race? These guys are preparing right now for the Pac-12 championship in a couple of weeks and the IRA national championships further down the road. And so she's still urging these guys on. They cannot sit. They can't be satisfied with any sort of lead that they have. She wants to get them to the 1,000-meter mark in a certain time, and she wants them to make it to that finish line in the cut in the fastest time they can possibly put down.
Again, we'll see the top boat, the varsity 8 in the Windermere Cup against New Zealand coming up. And you look at this second varsity 8 boat for the Huskies. You've got Americans in it. You've got Edward Nainby Luxmore from the UK, Markovic from Slovenia, Carcano from Switzerland, so well represented. The international contingent, you saw the peek back from Lisa Caldwell to see exactly how far the lead is as she tries to continue to guide her crew to victory.
Yeah, Lisa took a glance back there, and she can see the Oregon State boat and the Columbia boat, those two crews are locked in a very tight battle. It doesn't look like there's much of a lead between Columbia and Oregon State right now.
And the Huskies here past the midway point, and they are continuing to cruise at this vantage point against Columbia and Oregon State, which are locked in a pretty good battle right now for the second spot.
Yeah, neither one of the two trailing crews really seems to be inching out much at all, so we'll see who can come through at the finish line. But right now, Columbia and Oregon State are battling for that second spot behind the Huskies. The Huskies have a clear lead. They're rowing really well, rowing with good length, good power, very good rhythm coming from that Husky crew.
And interesting, too, boat changes in this second varsity 8 boat, as you would often find. Last week with the Huskies top boat losing, a couple of members of that boat dropped down here to the second varsity 8. A couple members of the second varsity 8, we'll see them later on in the top boat. But again, they have settled into a good groove together and finding their form here under the direction of Lisa Caldwell.
Yeah, a couple of switches for the Huskies, but it doesn't seem to be affecting their speed much at all today.
Great look as they go under the bridge and continue to head for the finish line here in front of the thousands that have poured into the Montlake Cut. Again, this event really exploded in the late 1980s when the Soviet Union was brought in, the top rowing team in the country, to match up with the Huskies, and a tradition was born. Every year, some of the best around the world and the best across the country in the collegiate ranks come to face off against the Huskies. And right now here in this men's Ericsson Cascade Cup, the Huskies are strutting their stuff.
Yeah, the Huskies are looking great. It's a real battle between Columbia and Oregon State here.
Thousands upon thousands getting a seat on the side of the hill or standing and applauding here as the Huskies hit the finish line to win the men's Ericsson Cascade Cup. Kind of a calm, cool day for Lisa Caldwell. Her boat jumped out to the lead and never gave it up. At the line here, Columbia able to just hold off Oregon State for second spot. Over the second